What's the number after trillion? What comes next? Have you ever read Richie Rich comics? Little silence, eh? Sometimes silence is golden. It all depends. But have you ever read Richie Rich comics? Well, he went up into the zillions. And I just finished my primary setting on if the Earth was a certain size based on the size and number of the peoples, what size would our universe be? So I did a trial and error. So I said, okay, there's 6.6 billion people that were supposed to be here in the year 2000. So then I went off track. If you pick that number, 666, well, it's a number you don't want to pick. But 6 by 6 by 6 equals 216. 2 is the egg, the 2 eggs of the 1 sperm creating the 1 man. 6. 6, 1, and 3, 9. So it got me onto figuring something else. The question is, if we do go back to heaven, how do we get there? Do we go by bus? How much does the spirit weigh? And what are the elements in the spirit? What actually is the spirit? Is any of this real? The man counts 25,625. Based on 5 minutes of time, our Earth will turn 25.625. The exact numbers the calendar has for the man. Therefore, I decided to study the table of the Da Vinci Code. And I know I'm off, but I gave it a shot. With his head tilted to the side, and the other man at the other end of the table in the 15th spot, meaning he's at the time of 1:45. On the other side of the table, there's two sets of gentlemen of 3 and 3, in which you're sitting at the corner of the table. So what they're reflecting on is the trinity of the position of they're in. The first 3 people next to Jesus were sitting at 1 o'clock. Therefore, the next 3 people were sitting at 2 o'clock. Now, you have the outside that should have a shadow at 5 o'clock if they were eating late at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night. They are in the Middle East. Therefore, which way has the sun gone? Which way is the room? Okay, because maybe the sun's on the other side of them, but I don't think so. Okay, and I could be wrong again, because there's nothing wrong with being wrong. It means you have to try again until you get it right. When you get it right, you're not wrong. Okay. So anyways, there's Mary Magdalene and the 5 men. So I said, 5 men, Mary Magdalene, she counts for more. She counts for more. She's a woman. She's got 2 eggs. A man only has 1 egg. Even if it's all 6 men attacked her, it's the same situation. So I looked at it like this. There's 6 people. There's 6 minutes to 2 o'clock because of where the other people are on the other side of the table. So I thought, I says, what can we count her as? And I says, we can count her as 1 1/4. Why 1 1/4? Well, with the 1 male egg, okay, with the 2 of the female and the 5 of the male, equals 1 1/4. So we count her for 1 1/4 of what she is. She mates with Jesus. We always, you see, what happens is why nobody really understands what the quarters are all about. Well, when the woman has 2 eggs, okay, and 1 doesn't go through, 1 egg is making the other one aware it's time to connect the angel and get cooking in the rooster barn upstairs in heaven. Because the minute your mother puts that, when it's inseminated that egg, all of a sudden you've now made 2. It's automatic that the DNA gets transferred right up through the mist, right out of your ear. So anyways, what I'm trying to talk about is Mary Magdalene being at 1.25, and you have the 5 gentlemen, we'll count for 1, you get 6.25. Therefore, that's the movement in degrees, okay, in the long count of the Mayan calendar, 625, which would mean 6 minutes, 1.8 minutes before, what is this count again? Hold on again. Whatever it is, that's the time, okay, when the true 45-degree angle comes out. Because this Earth is tilted at 45. The next 45 degrees makes this Earth perpendicular for the 12 and 6 and the 3 and the 9. The cross of Jesus is an example that our spirit goes up when the cross gets even to the poles. Otherwise it can't go, because it's the 2/8 that goes up, it's the 4/6 that rotates around Earth. Okay, man and angel rotate, and when the beta heaven comes, when you die, What happens when you die? I spoke this a few minutes ago. My cigarette is out. And I just spilled the whole thing of ashes on the floor. Not very happy. Anyways, what happens? Well, the spirit goes out your ear. And at the table, that's the exact time to be at a 45-degree angle, okay, to the universe, to let the spirit out your ear. Don't forget the 8 connection, and don't forget what the Jack of Spades is holding. Sometimes it's a noose. Sometimes it looks like 2 things of cancer, those cancer signs are put together. That's the connection going in one ear and out the other, around the head of him, down to you, and then back up again. All the time, to the computer system. We're all wired, man. We got the best wiring system. You can't find it. It's our totality. Whatever we breathe out, whatever we spit out, whatever we put out. When it makes a stink and it rises, well, guess what? It's on its way to heaven. You think it only goes down the toilet? You say your money goes down the toilet, but at the same time your money goes down the toilet. Those feelings inside that you breathe out of your mouth are the DNA explanation of what's going on in your body. God's a lot more advanced than these people. God can animorph. You ever watch the Animorphs? Well, it's a small thing like when you go on reboot, you change into something else. Well, that's what he can do. He knows how to manipulate his elements. You see, dog is man, cat is the woman. We had Catwoman in Batman, we had Catwoman here and Catwoman there, because, you know, I don't like to use this word, but you know, when you see a good pussy, why not be something that you like, right? Because in heaven, okay, when the angels reach a certain age, they get to choose sometimes which side they want to go, if they want to become the female or the male. It's gotten to that up there. But it's all changing around because we need more soul. We can't do that anymore. We need more soul in us. So when we go to heaven, God traps us. He puts us in a hatchery. We get born into that egg. Do you remember the egg? Your mother, one ran out while sperm connected to one, the other one ran away. It didn't run too far. That was the egg you were going to be reborn in heaven. You're in an incubator, and it takes 21 days. And my whole story is about 1 and 2. 1, 2, and 3. ABC, Michael Jackson sang it, man. The one spirit, or the one sperm, counted for 9, as the letter I. As the one egg, the oval, we don't give a number to. It can mean many things, but in this instance, I'll call it number 15. Why number 15? Because the O in the alphabet, okay, is after the LMNO, NO, and the O in the alphabet, LMNOP, no P, and no P. No what? No what? What? No sperm? No penis? What's missing? LMNOP. Sing your alphabet out, and maybe you'll come up with a song that has a meaning to this universe. I came up with a number leaning out from this. Anyways, you go into these egg hatcheries. It takes 21 days because my grandfather was in the business, so I learned a little bit about it, and I guess he still is in the business, because if I have spirit knowledge coming down to me of the learning of this, oh, who else is going to send it to me but the man who created it, Zadie? Who else? His name wasn't Willie for nothing. Wilhelm, he was the master of the boat in front, and he was directing the whole wide world, the O world of the boat, the water world, the water sack we're born into, the yolk sack we're born into. We are actually the O before we came the I. And in fact, we were the E before we came the I to become the O. In all actuality, all that together makes E-I-E-I-O. In the electronic of the spirit world said in French, because don't forget, what we hear in 25,000 different languages on earth, God has in one language up in heaven, or maybe 2, French and English, but a different way of doing it. I just put it in. So anyways, we're in the hatchery 21 days. We come out. Now how do we catch up to our age as little chickens? And we get transformed, obviously, from these little chickens. We grow up 7 times, or 7.4 times, as fast as we normally grow up. Why? Because dog's life is 7.4 years for one of man's years. Therefore, God is backwards, so man has to follow the dog's ways. So no what happens to man within 1 year, or my calculation can be slightly off, it could be 1 month. But I think within 1 year, you're 7 years old. In the second year, in the third year, by the time you've gotten to the 7th year, or the 8th year, or the 9 years, 9 times 6 is 54 cards in the deck. Why 9 years to catch up to your life? It's a rebirth. It took you 9 months to get to the age of 54 or 45, or 4 and 5 is 9, or 4 times 5 or 4, whatever you want to do with it. You're going to get all the ages out of it. Why? Because I made it happen. I want it to happen. I figured out a way to do it. It's very simple. You have to change an interchange. An interchange, what's an interchange? Well, it's getting off of one highway onto another highway. You change from one to the next by the bypass. Therefore, you have the bypass operation in the heart. You see, God left nothing out. So anyways, the cat, okay, is 15 years, apparently. Okay, and I'm also wrong somewhere in that. But was it 15 or 14 years? 20 years is 96. So that would be, 20 years would be 96. So that's 4 years, 45 years, 44 and a half years. So anyways, I don't have the female calculation, but I do have the male calculation that within 7 years, he will have reached his first step. And after you go by 9 years, you got the 54th birthday again. You're reborn into the world. You pick up number 7, just like God, the way he came in the second time. Because he transformed himself through all this. How do you think he got to us? He was the only test tube baby. So he had to devise a way to do himself, to recreate himself, so that back in Germany, when Aldous Huxley was out there trying to do this, and everybody called him crazy, and I went into a school one day, and I said, I want to talk about Aldous Huxley, who died on August 22nd of 1963. John F. Kennedy. John F. Jack. F is the 6th letter in the alphabet for man. Kennedy for the king. JFK the king. One of the high men's up in heaven. So is JFK the king and had to get back with Aldous Huxley at the same time? There must be a board of directors. So in order to keep the operation running, you need a board of directors, because the scientist doesn't want to put up with that rigmarole. He don't care. He just knocks them out and put the next few inside there to take care of it. He has no time. They all know that if God does not succeed with life, and his life ends, well, guess what? Like father, like son. If we follow the Father right to his death, we die too. Do you know where he does die? When we're doing absolutely no work to do better for ourselves, and we're all fighting. There's no positive activity. There's no positive action. There's no rebirth. We cannot be reborn when we fight. The mind has to be for the birth or not for the birth. And you can even do this right now in your own den, the rebirth. It's the giving up all that doesn't matter. And remembering that the only thing that can matter is the L-O-V-E. Because it is the angle of the end, okay, L-U-V, excuse me. L is the 1 and 2 12th letter, alpha, beta, the female and the male to put together, okay. What letters did I use? Oh my God, I can't believe I'm stuttering on this. Anyways, the L is the 1 and the 2. And the 1 and the 2, you need the 1 and the 2. But now I'm lost in this. Wow, I can't believe I lost myself in this. Anyways, do you want to know the size of the universe? First of all, August 4th. I have a new date. August 4th, 2011. I don't like it. It was the beginning of something a long time ago, and it's falling on the same day at almost the same kinds of situations, just in another part of this world. And there's going to be a bang before 2012. And the big bang, and when the big party's going to be, if you're here for it, it'll be the 23rd of September of 2015. And guess what? I have 4 years to be wrong. And on that day, I have only one day to be wrong. And when I'm wrong, then I'll know the truth. But when I'm right, I'm going to know the same thing, the truth. It was a result. Whatever happens is the result. No one's perfect. Anyways, I wish I could remember what that 1-2 is all about, but I don't. So the Jesus at the final table, he's on the angle. He's ready for the connection with the Spirit. The guy at the end of the table, he symbolizes 5, the 5th man, because he's at the end. Take away the add-on to the female that's there with 1.25. It makes the time of 0.625 on the clock, and that is a connection for the Spirit to connect. So that's what that table is all about. There's a lot more in there, and there are other elements that can change the number, but it'll be a different